Welcome to The Secrets of Success. By following the proven techniques of the guests who appear on this series, you'll learn that even successful people run into detours and failures, and how you can apply their success techniques to change your life.
You're now listening to the most unique show on radio, the show dedicated to making you a success. Rabbi Daniel Cohen asks, what will they say about you when you're gone? Rabbi Cohen, thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me today.
Rabbi Cohen, that's an unusual title. What will they say about you when you're gone? How did you come up with a title like that, and what is this book about?
Thank you. Well, I would say that as a rabbi, I have the opportunity to really sit with people in important moments in their life, really reflecting on a life well lived after somebody passes away. And that question is really, I see, on people's minds, because in a very short period of time, people have to distill the essence of a life. And over the course of many years, I've realized that trigger of a funeral is not only an opportunity to pay tribute to the deceased, but really an opportunity for self-reflection, to think about, well, it's not only what they're going to say about that person, but if I was going to be spoken about, what are they going to say about me? So it's been an important tool for a personal awakening.
And you use an unusual expression, but I'll take it right from your book. A funeral can often be a wake-up call.
Yes.
So we can really use it for our own life to say, hey, what can we learn from this? And rather than just kind of, I guess, wallow in the sadness, get something personal out of it that we can do better in our lives.
Yeah, I always mention at a funeral itself, it's one of the few moments in life where everyone is quiet, their phones are turned off, they're confronting their mortality. And I will say, what are we going to do after we leave this funeral to really try to capture that person's spirit and lead a better life? So it's really a teaching moment, which oftentimes people don't have because we're running around too quickly in our lives.
When you speak with people, how do they want to be remembered when they're gone? What are some of the comments and expressions you get back from them?
Well, it's funny because sometimes I'll sit with a family and I'll say, tell me about your mom or your dad, and they'll say, well, he never missed a Yankees game, or he loved Italian food. But when it comes down to it, that's not the way people want to be remembered. They want to be remembered for being a good parent, spouse, honesty, kind. And in the book itself, there are trigger questions for people to, on their own, in a healthy state, think about this process. For example, what are the 5 words you want written on your tombstone?
I like that.
Yeah, it really forces people to think about it. It was interesting. I did a seminar a couple weeks ago down in Tennessee, and somebody wrote these words, and then he said afterwards, you know what, this was a wake-up call for me, because I said I want to be remembered as a father, a parent, a brother, a spouse, and he didn't use the word brother. And then he said, I realized I didn't say the word brother, even though I have a sister, because I haven't spent enough time investing in that relationship. So in a matter of 20 minutes, it was his own wake-up call that, yeah, he may be a good spouse, he may be a good father, but when it comes to a sibling, there's more that he can do in his life.
I love that idea with the 5 words. I'm just thinking, has it crossed your mind that that's your next book?
What, the 5 words?
From different people. Yeah, I think that would be great. Especially, they could email them in to you, they could write them to you, and of course, maybe a little backstory why they chose those words. Some will be funny, but
yeah.
That's
a great idea, by the way. Thank you.
Well, no, you had the idea. I'm just verbalizing it and throwing it back to you. And while you were saying that, I remembered some retirement show they did on TV. It was just an average person. They showed what his retirement in. It was like, and the one thing everybody remembered about him was that he used excessive amounts of ketchup on everything. And here, after an entire lifetime, that's the one memory I have of. I don't know who the man was, but all they ever remembered of him, boy, he sure used a lot of ketchup on this and ketchup on that. So I guess we really better check and take a look how they're going to remember us, because we may be the ketchup story.
That's true, especially if it's not Heinz. It could be a big problem.
There we go. Tell us, you have a story about Alfred Nobel in your book. Who is that? Remind us of it and tell us the backstory.
Sure. So we're all familiar with the Nobel Prize, for which generations are the beneficiaries, Nobel Peace Prize and other great awards. But the backstory is really fascinating, and for me was another, I would say, catalyst for the concept behind the book. Alfred Nobel woke up one day, and it was actually the day of his brother Ludwig's funeral. And when he opened up the newspaper, rather than see an obituary about his brother, he got the rude awakening of seeing an obituary about him. And it said in there, we're sorry to announce the passing of the doctor of dynamite, the purveyor of wealth, because that's the way he made his money. And rather than let those words go in one ear and out the other, he actually said, is this the way I want to be remembered, as one who focused his life on accumulating wealth? And he decided at that moment to transform his life, to use his wealth to endow the Nobel Prize. And it was that really confrontation with his own and his own obituary that motivated him not to dedicate his life to his own glory, but to God's glory and to help make the world a better place. So I use that really as a trigger for the power of this process of, again, writing your own obituary or thinking about these questions and then using that not as, oh, wow, I should do this, I should do that, but think about what you can do today to start writing that story about yourself, which is one that you're going to be proud of.
Or you might default to the guy who really liked ketchup, or people might just remember you because you had really big feet, or, who knows what, but something not too endearing that you want to be remembered for.
That is true. That's true.
Rabbi, I'd like our audience to know that if they did not hear it at the beginning of the show, our guest today is Rabbi Daniel Cohen, Cohen. His book is What Will They Say About You When You're Gone? And Rabbi, where can we get the book, and is there a website that we can find out more about it?
Sure. So the best way is there's a website, www.whatwilltheysay.com, whatwilltheysay.com, and you can learn more about the book, the process of creating a life of legacy. You can order it online at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and it's in bookstores as well.
A lot of good anecdotes in here. As I said to the rabbi before the show, I really enjoyed going through this. You will too. It's an easy read, and it will just make you think of, instead of waiting for the next funeral or wake or sad occasion, that you start thinking about these things. What will they say about you? What do you want to change? Maybe more time with your kids, your wife, your mom. It's sad, after somebody passes away, we say, gee, if I only had one more day with that person. Mm-hmm. Well, let's start using that now and changing our life. And in turn, we're doing a lot more for the people around us and probably that person who eventually passes away. Now, you have a great statement in the book. You say, spend more time on what is truly important rather than what is urgent. And we always look for a takeaway, so I'm going to repeat that for our audience. Spend more time on what is truly important rather than what is urgent. Can you talk about that?
Sure. We live in a life where we are, I would say, distracted. We have a lot of commitments. We're oftentimes trying to get through the day, and we look at life as a series of to-dos. And oftentimes those may be, you might say, feel good because we've accomplished these things, but they really don't reflect the innermost values and aspirations of what life for us is all about. So I really encourage people to create some quiet time and create what I call meditative moments to really think about, okay, what is the life that I want to lead, and how can I ensure that every day I'm spending my time on those things that are truly important in my life, and again, not just urgent. One of the things that I speak about a lot in the book is the power of slowing down time. There's no question people look at life and they say, wow, it went by so fast. I mean, that's the way it is with the summer. Everyone's all excited, and then a day or two before Labor Day, wow, where did it all go? But the truth is that if we are present in the moment with those that we want to be present with, and we truly are thinking about how can I make today a masterpiece, because it's different than yesterday and will be different than tomorrow, then we will spend our time differently and really try to focus, as I say, on those things that are important, not just on the things that are urgent in our lives.
And I think you talk about it later, we'll get to it, but sometimes that's as little as just a hello, a friendly wave,
yep,
a greeting when someone comes into your store or your business place of business. It can be the simplest task, but it can make that other person's day.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I call these Elijah moments where we oftentimes have these encounters with people, albeit brief. It may be a person we meet that we'll never see again, but in that one moment, in that fleeting second, if we extend ourselves with a certain generous spirit, we're kind, we wave, we see how they're doing, we can transform our lives, and that fleeting moment can often be an eternal one.
Now, you mentioned that we can't simply wish these things would happen. Maybe we're 40 years old and we say, wish I was a teacher and finished college. We have to commit. when you're dealing with people, how do you handle that commitment process? What do you tell them to do to make it happen rather than they talk about it at the wake the next day and then it kind of disappears because we're all so busy?
Well, I would say one of the keys, I write in the book, is creating that sacred space. And it's really a matter of hands-on tools and strategies. One strategy that I encourage people is a gratitude journal. I learned this from my oldest daughter, where she actually every day writes down something that she's grateful for. She makes sure that she doesn't repeat herself. It's easy every day to say, wow, I'm alive, Tuesday. Wow, I'm alive, Wednesday. But if you train yourself to find new things in your life, and now she's up to over 1,000, and then every night she reads 50 of them, she sees life in a whole new way. It's not just, I want to get through the day, but it's a motivator. And again, it takes time to do this, but those few minutes of reflection will inspire you to try to make today a great day.
I love that, and I want to let our audience know, too, when we talk about this book, we're mentioning funerals and wakes and death, but this is not a negative or a dark book at all. In fact, it's a very uplifting book, and if you go out and get yourself a copy of What Will They Say About You When You Are Gone by our guest, Rabbi Daniel Cohen, you'll see this and you'll really enjoy it. So don't feel it's going to be anything negative, or you're going to feel, it's going to get me down or depressed or something. No, it's going to lift you, because when you hear the story about your daughter, right away I think she's a very bright person and probably a wonderful person to be around.
Yeah, no, thank God. And part of the premise of the book, I think it's important to realize that I'm not asking anybody to be something that they're not. I believe that in the quietest moments, everybody wants to be loved, wants to love, wants to feel joyful. Life is such a gift, and what I'm trying to do is help people hear that inner voice that's inside of all of us, and we hear it a little bit, again, too rarely when the ground shakes or there's this crisis or life transition. Could be a positive thing, could be a wedding, and you say, wow, I'm going to count my blessings. Why wait till that moment? It's really inside of you, and we just have to pay a little more attention to how we realize our spiritual greatness every day.
Now, there's an unusual statement also in your book, and you say it's better to go to a funeral than a wedding. Why?
Actually, by the way, that's not my statement originally. It comes from one of the wisest people that ever lived, King Solomon. And, I'll tell people, I said, look, you go to a wedding, it's fantastic. The next morning you wake up and you ask yourself, oh my gosh, did I eat too much? I got to go on a diet. There could be a bit of a hangover. And it was joyful at that moment, but then the next day you're not necessarily a different person. When a person goes to a funeral, there is an opportunity to be in the presence of a person who led an inspiring life and potentially be so inspired by it that you actually are going to lead your life in a different way. So again, I'd rather be at weddings because they're joyous, but we do go to funerals, and these are really potentially opportunities for us to be awakened to leading a life of greater significance and legacy.
And another saying that I want our audience, if they have a writing instrument, to jot down, because this will stay with you long after the show. You mention, if not now, when? Talk a little bit about that.
I will. By the way, I have to say that's also not original. That's from...
I give you credit for a lot of these. You wrote them in the book, so it's
well, I quote where they're from in the book, and let's try to put them in the book. This one is from a great book of wisdom called Ethics of Our Fathers in the Jewish Faith. And this phrase meant a lot for me because growing up in Atlanta, I was a sports fan, Braves, Falcons, so on and so forth, but I didn't have any sports heroes in my bedroom. I had a phrase of Ethics of Our Fathers above my bed, if not now, when, which is really a call to seize the moment and seize the day to make it a special one. My parents would always instill within me that life has a purpose, that life has meaning, that time is valuable. And that's really what this is all about. Don't waste time. Don't kill time. Make the most of it. And on a personal level, this really hit me very much many years ago. My mom passed away, which is also one of the reasons for the genesis of the book, when she was 44 years old from a brain aneurysm. And within 48 hours, I was talking to her, and then she passed away, and I saw how in an instant life can change. And when I got into my 40s, I began to think about, I'm now at the same place in life where my mother is, and also began to think about, again, am I seizing every moment? If not now, when? What am I doing to make a difference for my family and the world?
Rabbi Cohen, we want to find out more about reverse engineering our life and what we can do to make the world a better place. But at this point in the show, we like to remind our listeners that you're listening to The Secrets of Success My name is Bill Horan. The show is produced at 90.3 WHPC at Nest.